So, all of the preamble last time, this was all leading up to the catharsis, people. And if you're a Yamcha fan, you might enjoy today's episode. Hey folks, MasakoX here. The month of April. It's a time of great change within the world. A time where we can take a breather and have a bit of a laugh when it comes to some things. And yeah, I know, granted, last year wasn't as jovial as most years could be, but I feel that this time around we can loosen up a little bit more and showcase this year's April Fool some more. And given the fact we are doing the next installment so soon after the first one, yeah, it does very much imply that we are very keen to tell you more about this. We will also have the finale of this outing ready for you to wrap up the month, so we can get this all squared away within the same month and year. Leave it all with a good moral story at the end of it, and that is to not nettle Yamcha. You never know when one day he might just snap and decide to destroy the universe, which is what we are seeing unfold in this particular April Fool outing. Like we just said, April Fool what-ifs can be much more flexible and looser than the typical counterparts. Thanks to an idea from Jay the Real McCoy, one of our viewers on the Roundtable livestreams that we typically do on a Thursday, we actually were able to have something pitched to us which definitely caught all three of our interest, and we also wish to capitalise on the buzz that was generated when a similar premise and side quest arose during the Xenoverse games. You know the one I'm talking about. This time, when Yamcha couldn't take it anymore and so went a little bit too lally, taking it out on everyone around him with the bizarre Timebreaker-like power, yeah, it went a bit south. Here though, we're actually doing that a little bit differently, seeing this happen through the Dragon Balls instead of Timebreaker power. And what you experienced last time, that was just the start. In the last part, worried about his legacy, Yamcha had decided to figure out what his lot was in life going forward. And so, he chose to ask Shenron, using Wish on the Dragon Balls, to try and figure out what he would become. Use a vision, how people would remember him after he was gone. Would he be remembered as a valiant defender of Earth, a good and loyal friend, or even just a really good player of baseball? That would do. Turns out it was none of those things. As it turned out, the vision that our hero actually got felt like a glimpse of another weird world instead of a place where he would be remembered fondly. And fairly. This particular pose was the only thing that people remembered of Yamcha, clearly, that was of any note. That one fight with the Cybermen. That's all people cared about. The whole ordeal broke his psyche utterly and completely, as he then used the opportunity to trick Goku into getting into New Namek, where, after training with the denizens of the Green Planet, he not only asked Porunga for ultimate power, being the strongest in the universe, mirroring the wish of a certain serial-based character in a recent manga, but also took the opportunity of ensuring that nobody would ever be able to make wishes on Porunga ever again. After the cataclysm of New Namek's explosion, Yamcha was alone amongst the debris of the remaining planetoid. Once the adrenaline had worn off, Yamcha had surprised himself with the very fact that he hadn't fallen unconscious since there was no planet anymore, or he hadn't died. Of course, he typically could not breathe in space, but now, that didn't seem to be bothering him in the slightest. Seemingly, with his newfound power, the ability to breathe in a vacuum had become available to him. Interesting. He didn't expect that. The only problem for him now was that Dende he probably would have felt the loss of Namek particularly quickly. In fact, he probably had already told the others about it. On reflection, he should have probably asked that blasted dragon to transport him to Yardrad before he blew the planet up, so he could learn instant transmission, quickly. Well, okay, I guess it's just time to check out how fast he can fly right now being the strongest in the universe and all. And it turns out that it was fast. Pretty fast. In fact, very fast. He was travelling faster than most spacecraft, but unfortunately it was just not quick enough for the journey to not take a decent amount of time. Still though, the visions he had experienced gave him the ability to pinpoint the location of his current goal. He could get there in the time he needed without tiring too much. But yeah, he was much faster than before. Yamcha then almost starved himself actually trying to get to Yardrad. This was a bit of a risky move, but the people of the planet, fortunately, were hospitable, having not known what he'd been up to. They fed him without question, and helped him return to health, seeing his apparent similarity to Goku. reminded them of good times. And when he had told them who he was and that he did know Goku, they were even more keen to help. Ooh, a friend of Goku. They allowed him to train, unaware of the nefarious intentions he had in the offing, and trusted him too much. And so, Yamcha was taught instant transmission and other Yardratian techniques. The people of said world still unaware of his malicious outings as of late, or not being able to anticipate or perceive his maliciousness. Thanks to his newfound strength, he learned these techniques even faster than Goku, or Vegeta in another world, which gave him Pibara's approval. That is at least until Yamcha decided to blow up Yardrat when he was done with his training. All of this done with a maniacal grin on his face. The poor people of Yardrat, they just did not see that coming. They did not have the time to even really process what was going on. The Yardratians could not understand the reasoning behind that. But as their code forbade them from teleporting off of their planet, even now, they just had to accept their fate in the face of their own destruction. Ouch. Having instant transmission now to hand, Yamcha had set his eyes upon a new target. He would do what his friends had failed to do. Frieza was busy rebuilding his empire, and that day, he didn't expect any earthling guests to come knocking. He was sitting on the bridge of his ship when a dashing-looking stranger simply popped into existence right before him, none of his guards having noticed his presence whatsoever. Frieza was taken aback by this, but since he can't sense energy without the needs of machinery, he still felt like he was in control. Oh, how wrong he was. Wait, you're not a Saiyan. Who are you? I don't remember you from the Tournament of Power. Frieza was unable to finish his train of thought though, having lost the words. Literally, when a powerful ki blast caused him to fly through the decks of his own spaceship. Your funeral, Yamcha smirked. By the time the Emperor had flown back to his original position, he was smirking very, very maniacally. Rather wickedly, in fact. Almost as if he actually enjoyed the surprise maneuver. Oh, brave words for a lowlife such as yourself. But Lord Frieza won't be beaten by an ordinary earthling. Yamcha shrugged, aping Frieza's signature arm stretched out pose. Well, Frieza, soon you'll find out that I'm anything but ordinary. And so the fight aboard Frieza's ship began. It became very clear to Frieza, though, that this wasn't going to be an easy task. That surprise attack wasn't a distraction. That was the real deal. That's what he could expect. The Emperor was forced into his golden power, in fact, and, well, that proved insufficient as well, as his meeting with Broly had demonstrated. He was just getting more of that. Except Yamcha was much more methodical and brutal than that one. Wait, how did you get that strong? I can get you a place in my army if you're not interested. It's time for you to go back to your teddies and fairies for a while. Wait, how did you... But before Frieza could find out the truth behind Yamcha knowing this fact, the ship, Frieza, and his minions were gone. The fire of the ship glowed white hot for a few seconds before fading away into the inky blackness of space. Yamcha's eyes were filled with madness even more than before, but he was enjoying this greatly, fully aware of his actions. Well now, where to next? Oh, that's it! He could sense something really interesting going on. Meanwhile, Broly, Chilai, and Lemo started to become more comfortable on Vampa, having a house and other supplies delivered to them by the likes of Kakarot. They remembered that the Saiyan from Earth seemed to be worried about something, but welcomed the distraction to come to Vampa and see Broly. Apparently, there was some sort of cataclysmic event that took the life of many of his friends as they were coming to terms with Broly as well. The people on Namek. This had been going on whilst they were busy. Well, they didn't have much time to dwell on this fact, as one day, they were visited by a stranger with a scar. Hey you, fight me, he smirked at Broly. Broly doesn't want to fight, stranger, said Lemo. Go away! I swear if this is Kakarot's idea to force him into training early. Yamcha teleported before Chilai and Lemo, and prepared a ki blast to be launched in Chilai's face in particular. Fight me. What do you think you're doing? Chilai tried to punch Yamcha, but he dodged it with ease, as Broly charged at him to defend his friends, trying to increase the distance between this new intruder and said friends. And so that fight started. Broly tried to control himself, remembering what Kakarot had taught him, or at least told him, but Yamcha transformed into that weird purple form again and started to beat on Broly so hard that he had no choice but to go berserk in order to just stay alive. Chilai and Lemma were shocked. No one had managed to push Broly so far since... This wasn't for fun. This new guy was mad with power. But Broly would be able to stop him, right? Right? Well, they witnessed their friend showing the peak of his power, and the fight started to break reality like it did between himself and Gogeta earlier. Yamcha was pretty sure that Whis would be watching this kind of thing right now if reality was being distorted. He wanted the angel to watch, in fact. Be scared. Good. Let him watch. Let him be ready. Meanwhile, on Earth, Goku and Vegeta grew worried, being able to sense this very faintly from the other side of the universe, unable to help. They decided to talk with Dende and Jarko on the lookout about this. Something bad was happening here, and according to Jarko, Yardrat was yet another planet that had mysteriously been destroyed, no one knowing who did it. It wasn't even Frieza. Not only that, but Frieza was taken down as well, so it couldn't have been him. I can think of worse things to happen, to be fair, Kakarot. But still, all those Yardratians and Namekians, gone, with no warning, Vegeta pondered to himself. But their conversation was then interrupted, as somebody using instant transmission appeared right before them on the lookout. Hey guys. Yamcha, you're alive! Goku seemed relieved at this, but after a while he realized something was wrong here. This wasn't the version of Yamcha he remembered. This one looked battle-worn and manic. Wait, what are you wearing? Yamcha had not only acquired himself some Yardratian armor before he blew it up, but he was wearing a familiar green furry ear as a belt that they've seen with a certain someone not so long ago. Oh, these? These are some trophies I'd claimed on my way home. Forgot to take one from Frieza, though. Trophies? Kakarot, what is he yammering on about? Yamcha smiled widely. Oh, Vegeta, it's time I taught you some respect. And before Vegeta could reply, a punch was set in the prince's direction, causing him to soar off the lookout. The sheer force of that hit was so unexpected that it took the prince quite some time to get back. He was utterly furious and shocked. What is the meaning of this? You know, if you wish for something really, really hard, you sometimes might get your wish. Also, the dragon said something about a condition, but I believe it was, losing my mind thanks to the power increase. But I don't mind. It was a worthy price. You see, your lives are meaningless. Everything is. All this is all fiction. On paper. On TV. Just a stupid made-up fairy tale. Yamcha started giggling, Goku looking utterly terrified. Yamcha, buddy, this isn't you! Oh, but it is! Your old buddy Yamcha, that was left to rot in some Cybermen crater. Your old buddy Yamcha, that was impaled by Jiro with nobody helping me. Your old buddy Yamcha, that was trusted less than Frieza for the tournament. But luckily for you, the tournament, just like everything else, has no meaning. I don't know how hard you hit that head of yours, but we have to beat some reason back into it. Vegeta managed to regain his cool and charged forward. But Yamcha was waiting for that, and the power was unexpectedly enormous, throwing both Goku and Vegeta for a loop. There was no base form shenanigans here. They had to resort to Super Saiyan Blue, with Goku hoping to get into Ultra Instinct rather quickly. Now, initially, they tried not to hurt their former friend, but they then quickly realized that that wasn't going to work. This wasn't their old companion's goal. Something had gotten to him to the point where he was utterly unrecognizable. They had no choice, especially with Vegeta feeling very pressurized. Oh, go on then. Fuse into Gogeta. Or was it Vegeto? Those names are always so confusing for me. How do you possibly... Ah! Vegeta screamed as Yamcha punched him in the guts again. Then he blasted Goku away in order to grab Vegeta by his spiky-haired head and chuck him through a mountain, then the nearest lake, and then punch him some more mercilessly. You know, I always wanted to do this, since everything started to go wrong for me after you showed up. Vegeta spat out some blood. You were still killed by a cyborg. Vegeta could not finish his dig as Yamcha's arm went clean through his chest. Sweet dreams, Prince. Now where was Goku? Oh, perfect. Goku was right there, battle ready, with his hair turning silver. Guess Yamcha had beaten him up enough to showcase this new trick of his after all. And this was going to be a fight. It was pretty hard to hit Goku in fact, so Yamcha decided to go with key explosions at the charge around the Saiyan that even Ultra Instinct could not dodge. It was a long and brutal encounter, but finally Yamcha was able to overcome it when Goku's body gave up the ghost from a long overexposure to Ultra Instinct, basically exploding.
Yamcha, please, you're my friend.
Yamcha tilted his head. Don't worry, friend. This won't hurt a bit.
Yamcha, you're a good person.
Nay.
I don't understand why this is happening to you, but... Think about the others, Poir, Tenshinha and Bulma! Everyone!
Nay. Yamcha smiled at Goku. And so Son Goku vanished in an energy wave. He had done it. He had vaporized him. He had beaten Goku. But before he could rest and take stock in this victory, there was another cliffhanger, another challenger. That's as far as you go. You've had your fun, but this is over. The grouchy voice boomed over his head. Oh, Lord Beerus, I was hoping I'd attract your attention. Yamcha's grin was as wide as his eyes, and they were waiting for another encounter. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? Will Beerus stop Yamcha's evil episode? Or can he actually beat the cat? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!